Welcome everybody to the Golden Drop Call. My name is Sharon McDonald. I'm a Blue Diamond with doTERRA, and I am a business and lifestyle strategist. I work a lot in the nutrition field because it's a passion of mine. So I'm a holistic nutritionist, a mom of 5 kids, and that's what started me down this path of finding better alternatives in food and nutrition and filling our bodies full of rich goodness in the way of foods. And then complementary to that was this lifestyle essential oil magic, so to speak, because I then had tools at home to be able to help my family. And so I'm really grateful to have you here today with us. If you're brand new, just raise your hand on the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to see you can raise your hand, whether you're on your computer. Those of you who are not and you're on your phone, you can do it on the bottom of your phone. You can raise your hand. There's a little space. So I wanted to just check in with you guys and see who's new so we can welcome you. This call is a space where we created for people to come for tips and tricks of how to use their essential oils and do some things that they normally wouldn't do with their essential oils, because all of us have our own little space of essential oil love. And it's one of those things where when you're going through your daily life, you're going through it. It's your life. You're used to it, but it's not for the rest of us. And so this is a space for you to share your tips and tricks. What are you doing and how are you operating and what's your daily routine like and how are you washing your vegetables and what oils are you putting in your cleaners, and all of those things make our oily life. So if you happen to be joining us from the FDA or the FTC, I want to welcome you and just let everyone know this is not a diagnosis. This is not meant to be a derivative of what you should be using medically. So we're not here to prescribe or diagnose. So we are grateful you're here. I hope all of you have come with your questions, if you have them, and I'm going to share with you my little tidbit today. So this came as a request from someone to be able to have me share my daily oil routine. Okay. How I start my morning. Specifically, it was to my morning. And so I wanted to share with you what I do. And so I don't have it here because it's out there, but I always have a big glass of water in the morning. And I like to drink warm water first thing when I get up. One big 16-ounce or 12-ounce glass of water, whatever I have. And I like it to be not so hot that I can't drink it right away, but warm enough that it's soothing to my belly. And here's what I do. I put 15 drops of grapefruit under my tongue. I used to do lemon, but lemon wasn't giving my stomach the reaction to what I was needing. And so I had a hernia operation done a year ago, this last October, and it did something to my stomach where I was bloated all the time and had terrible gas pains and gas troubles in general. And it was awful. And in fact, I was in Wisconsin with Diana on a business trip, and she had to take me to the emergency room because of this situation. So I learned that if I could up my glutathione production within my liver, and it took me a whole year to figure this out, but every time I would take grapefruit, I would feel my stomach would feel so much better. So what I did is I learned 15 drops was my magic number. Okay, and some people are like, that's so much essential oil. Well, for every body, right, is different. And so my tip today is that everybody's routine and oil consumption will be different. And your body will tell you what you need to do. for yourself. And you don't want to overdo it, right? Because you can cause a toxic reaction in your body, which some people call a toxic healing, but it doesn't matter what it is, you know, it can happen. So if you're using massive amounts of oregano, you're probably going to have a little trouble. So for me, 15 drops of this grapefruit essential oil under my tongue, it is perfect for me, because what it does is it creates this glutathione production within my liver. And then, so something, you know, is going on with my liver, and I do know that that is true. But what the grapefruit takes care of that. So what I do is, and I don't have my water right next to me, and if I move, my tower is going to fall. So here's how I do it. I take my bottle, okay, and I dump it under my tongue like this. Okay. It's not super awesome, but I'm used to it, and I'm a big girl. It's bitter because grapefruit comes from that rind, so you have that rind kind of a flavor. It's like biting into a grapefruit. And so that's what I do. I put 15 drops, and then I chase it with water. And I drink that whole big glass of warm water. Then I make myself another cup of water, and I put lemon, fresh lemon in that. And I will also do 1 drop of lemon essential oil. And then again, drink that as quickly as I can. And what that does is that starts to get the glue that sits there all night from the foods you ate the night before. And because I eat up until about 9 o'clock at night, because I consume most of my foods between 1 and 9. If I wake up and I'm very hungry in the morning, but my carbs and my proteins, I don't usually introduce those until about lunchtime, whenever that is, depending on the day. But I'm just going to say safely, it's 1 o'clock. And so that's my eating pattern. And so what I do is then I take my supplements, okay, in the morning. And so then people are asking me, okay, so what are your supplements? So for me, that is some herbals that I'm on extra for my situation that I'm in, for my health right now, and some binders and some, you know, extra things like that, and some extra vitamin D. And then I also take like Lifelong Vitality. I take a half dose, okay, a half dose, because the full dose is too much for my system. I get really wired and feel too full, and so then my body just doesn't respond. So I found my sweet spot for Lifelong Vitality is a half dose. Now that will change, and I know it will change as I get my gastro situation taken care of. And so I take a half dose of Lifelong Vitality, and I live on TerraZyme. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. I live on TerraZyme. I live on TerraZyme and Zendocrine soft gels, okay? And the reason why I live on it is because I find that my body just loves TerraZyme to be able to break down foods. It makes my stomach feel better. My whole system just runs smoother and nicer with this. And I take about 2 capsules 3 times a day. Sometimes I take 3. And that I do by how I feel. So like this morning, I woke up feeling pretty full, and my stomach hasn't been really acting very well yesterday and today. I'm doing a lot of burping. And so for me, that's aha, I have a little situation with my belly going on. So I've upped my TerraZyme, and it's working. And I actually have had to do 2 doses in a 24-hour period of the 15 drops of grapefruit. And so, and this warm water. And so I'm going to juice today for lunch and then add in a protein shake with that. And so I'm going to juice kale and green apples and fresh lemon, and add 2 drops of doTERRA lemon essential oil into that. And that is going to be the first thing that I eat before I have my protein shake. And my protein shake is a V shake. It's my favorite. And I like to put 2 scoops of trim shake and 1 drop of wild orange or citrus bliss, which citrus bliss is a blend of essential oils and vanilla. So it kind of gives it a creamsicle kind of a flavor. And I'm not, because I'm already having my juice, I'm not adding greens to this. So I'm going to pretty much just drink just that. Okay. And the V shake, just so you guys know, is, it's got no flavor. And so some people don't really like it, but I love it specifically when I put terra greens in it or fresh greens, just because it, I just like the flavor. But if I'm looking for a little sweet, I would do 1 scoop of vanilla and 1 scoop of V shake. And doTERRA has now this yummy limited time offer on the orange Slim and Sassy Trim Shake. You guys, I have heard so many people saying, oh my gosh, I love this product. It's incredible. So I would highly recommend, if you're a trim shake lover, grab a bottle of that so that you have it, because it is a limited time offer. I think if they get a really good response, they'll probably bring it to the table for us. But for right now, it's a limited time offer. So that is that is kind of how I get my morning going. So what essential oils do I use in the morning? So here's what I do. I normally will put a drop of myrrh, and I start with myrrh on my thyroid. And I do that specifically when my stomach is feeling really full, because then I know my thyroid isn't really super happy. And I can kind of, now I look in the mirror, how does this thyroid look? Is it swollen? Am I seeing that indentation? You should see an indentation right here where your thyroid is. And mine is not indented today, which is indicating to me that I am having a little bit of a trouble there. And so I'm going to boost that yummy little situation with that. And then I add a drop of lemongrass, okay? And same thing, I just put it in my fingers like this, and I rub it in. And you're gonna wanna be careful with lemongrass, because sometimes lemongrass, when you put it where the sun doesn't shine, when you put it where the sun shines, you could get a chemical reaction because it's photosynthetic. But I'm not planning on going out. I've already been out. I've already done my morning exercise routine. So I am not going out. I'm going to be in until later this afternoon. And then when I go out, it's cold, so I'm going to wear a scarf. So the sun isn't going to see that thyroid. But I just wanted to make sure you knew that this is one of those essential oils that is a little photosynthetic. And then my next little guy is Whisper. And this is a women's blend, and it just helps me be grounded. And here's what I do with it. I put it on my earlobes and rub it around my ear. And it is just intoxicating for me. It helps me really ground myself. And depending on how I wake up and the intention that I lay out for the day, I like to either use Peace or Console from the emotional therapy line over my heart. And so this morning, I'm feeling like I need Console. And it's not because anything's happened. It's just my body's saying use Console. So I rub that over my heart. And I still feel like I need Peace. Okay. So where I'm going to apply Peace is to the back of my neck. And so I'm going to apply it to my finger like that. And I'm going to rub it into the back of my neck. Now, why do I rub it in the back of my neck? I rub it in the back of my neck because it's going to get to my brain, right? To my cranium, through the spine and throughout my system a lot faster. Console over my heart is just a way to open up my heart chakra and really help me bring goodness into my day. I have found it's extremely helpful for me to do that. And then I put cypress over my heart as well. Another really good essential oil for the chakra, the heart chakra. And because I really want to be open to receive anything in my day that is important for me. Sometimes I will start my morning, depending again on how my body feels, with cinnamon bark. And I like to put this under my tongue. This is not for every essential oil user. I'm kind of a hardcore, what you would call hardcore essential oil user. And I will put this under my tongue and chase it with water really quick. I do 1 to 2 drops, and it just helps with blood sugar. So if I'm feeling a little bit lethargic, maybe a little shaky, maybe there was just too many hours between the time I went to 8 and the time I got up in the morning, and I'm needing, you know, a little bit of extra help. And so that is my normal routine. Sometimes if I'm feeling that quirkiness, I'll put a little drop of coriander, okay, right here on my thumb between the webbing there, and I'll put it there and I'll rub it in right there in the webbing of the hand. And I'll do it on both hands, and it really helps, again, with blood sugar. So it just depends on how my pancreas is feeling. A lot of people are like, you can't feel your pancreas. I can feel my pancreas, how it's feeling in the morning, because it's very correlated to the burping that I experienced after this hernia surgery. And so something occurred when that surgery occurred. They had to move my stomach it was 2 inches up into my esophagus. So they had to repair my esophagus and put my stomach back where it went. And so it's taken seriously a whole, year and a half, a year for me to start to feel a little bit normal with this surgery. So that's my oil routine in the morning. And then throughout the day, depending on how I'm feeling and what's going on, my go-tos tend to be console or peace, or sometimes oregano and marjoram on the back of my neck, okay? And before I do yoga, I like to use either peppermint or breathe. And what I do with that peppermint or breathe is I just drop a drop in my hand, and I do this. 1 drop, just like that, and rub my hands together. And this is traditionally what you see essential oil lovers doing. And breathe it in. And then I rub it on the back of my head and neck, and that just helps me get my vibe. And I'm going to share something with you. People kind of get a little freaked out when you start talking about vibration and whatnot, but there's a frequency. We all vibrate at a frequency. Essential oils have a frequency because nature has a frequency, and it truly is in that bottle. There is a frequency. Do we teach that? No. Do we scientifically work with that? Some essential oil experts do, but I notice that sometimes peppermint brings me too high, and it makes me too, but if I am in a mode where I'm trying to receive, because I try to show up the very best in my life so that I can raise the vibration of the world, right? I want to be with people who are raising the vibration of the world, doing good and bringing goodness, and I want to bring that into my home. And I want the people in my space to feel that love and that beauty. And so essential oils really, really have helped me to be able to hone in on this internal, how am I feeling today kind of thing. So that truly is my daily routine. And the last thing I do at the end of the day is, because I am a lot of energy, I love Serenity soft gel capsules. If you have not purchased these yet, you guys, hands down, you must put it in your shopping cart. because it is the very, very best you will ever have. So I take a capsule about an hour before it's time for bed. And if I'm really wired, I'll take another one right when I climb into bed. And that just puts me in a very restful state. And then, of course, I use the Serenity on the back of my neck, and put it on the back of my neck. And then I rub my ears, and I rub over my heart, and I rub my wrists together with it. And then I climb into bed and I go to sleep. In fact, it actually sits on my headboard. Every single night the oil is there, along with Breathe for my husband. And sometimes I use Breathe, and sometimes I have Digestion up there depending on how my belly works. So there's my essential oil daily routine for you guys, and I hope that it was goodness for you. And Renee, do you want to read me any questions? Are there hands up? This is your time to ask your questions for your essential oil usage. And maybe you have a tip or a trick you want to share, but we would love to hear from you now. So Renee, what do we have?
Everybody just kind of talked about they have no questions yet, but Tina says she just tried Serenity soft gels this week and love them. And I don't see any questions, but I do have a question for you about diffusing. What are your diffusers for the day?
Thank you. That's a really good question. I forget about diffusing because, again, it's second nature. So thank you for bringing me back to what I diffuse. My diffuser daily recipe depends on what the vibe is in the morning. So if people are sick, I'm always an On Guard wild orange girl. And, you know, if there's viruses going around. But I really, again, this is kind of, how do I feel? What's the feeling of my home? And what is it feeling like? What kind of morning is it? So if I need to warm things up, I'm going to do warmer essential oils. So I'm going to do kind of those grounding oils a little bit. I love, one of my favorite recipes for the warming aspect, bringing that kind of grounded, loving, nurture me kind of a morning. I will start off with Peace, Console, or On Guard. I know that you're like, wait a minute, you just went all the way over here with On Guard. On Guard doesn't smell anything like Peace or Console. But it just depends on the morning. But those are the first three. And then with those, I will add, for example, to Peace, I will add a drop of Forgive. So I do 3 drops of Peace and 2 drops of Forgive in that. And then I will leave it alone. And I'll just see, you know, okay, how's this feeling? Do I need to add something more to it? What needs to happen? And to Console, I will usually do 1 to 2 drops because it's got patchouli in it, and my family's like, what? I hate patchouli. So Console, 2 drops. And then again, I love to do Motivate with that, because Motivate kind of has a higher, it's got more of that pepperminty kind of a smell to it. And then sometimes Passion. But my number for my diffuser is 5 to 8, sometimes 10. So I'm running in that ratio. But again, for the essential oils that are sensitive to my family, I try to enhance that with wild orange or something that goes with it. Forgive, for example, like I said, Motivate and Passion. And those tend to be really, really good. I'm looking at my oil case right now as we're speaking. And another one that I really love is Spearmint. Okay, 5 drops of Spearmint and a drop of 2 drops of Cypress. And there is another one that I add with that, and I cannot. I think it. Did I say white fir already, Renee?
No, you did not.
Okay, so I think with Spearmint, Cypress, and it's 1 drop of white fir, but I just posted, I think it was in our Go Green group, an essential oil highlight this is the one that I've been diffusing nearly every single day, and I will post that. I cannot remember it off the top of my head right now, but that's kind of my go-to in the morning. In the afternoon, for some weird reason, I'm a citrus girl. So it is lime and it's lemon and it is lemongrass, and lemongrass is another one my family doesn't really care for. So I have to do 1 drop of that and then some other kind of goodness. Peppermint will come into play in the afternoon, but if I do peppermint, I'm going to do 6 drops of wild orange and 1 drop of peppermint, for example. Again, it's for my own safety because if I am smelling all that peppermint, then I get super wired. Another one I love for the diffuser is 7 drops of lemon and 2 drops of cypress and 1 drop of Douglas fir or white fir or both. Okay, just because I really love the smell of those pines. It almost gives it's not a pine sol smell, but it's super yummy. But that's an afternoon blend for me. Again, if the kids are sick, it's wild orange and On Guard. You know, I run it a lot when people are not feeling well. So those are kind of my go-tos, just so you kind of know. But it's more those grounding, rooted essential oils kind of in the morning and warmer, you know. And then I move into those citrus in the afternoon, which is probably totally the opposite of what everybody else does. They're probably like, citrus in the morning because I hate the morning. But I like to be grounded in my day. So that's what I do. I would love to hear what you guys are doing for your diffuser recipes. So we should post those. Post those under the replay when we post this on Go Green Group. Post your daily, your favorite essential oil diffuser recipes underneath of there, or make a totally separate post. This is my favorite diffuser recipe. That would even be better. You guys are awesome. Is that helpful, Renee?
Absolutely, because I'm always just kind of going to the basics. I need some mixtures.
Yeah, you know, another really good one is, and it's not everybody's favorite, but I'm gonna say I love it. 1 drop of arbor vitae and 4 drops of Douglas fir, and maybe 1 to 3 drops of lemon. You have to play with that one, depending on your flavor, right? Because I know arbor vitae is not everybody's favorite essential oil, but it is such an amazing essential oil, especially for recovering from any addiction, but specifically perfectionists. So it's a really healing blend there. Arbor vitae, Douglas fir, and lemon. To die for.
All right, Sharon, we have Tina chimed in and said, so what if one person in your family needs a more uplifting blend in the morning, but you need more of a grounding wind in the morning? How do you meet the middle?
That is exactly why I use those grounding oils of specifically, you can do it with Serenity, but my favorites are honestly these Peace and Forgive. And then you raise that, you know, gratitude and beauty with Forgive because it's got those higher notes, but Motivate, Cheer, and Passion, all 3 blend very nicely with those more grounding oils. And so Cheer is the one that most people go to. In fact, here is a really good recipe that a lot of people really, really love. It's not going to be as grounding, but try it, Tina. It is Cheerify, and I've posted this before. That's why I labeled it Cheerify. And it is 3 drops, I think, 3 drops of Purify and 4 to 5 drops of Cheer. Okay. And you can play with those numbers because it's going to be what you like to smell. So that one's a very popular one in my household on different occasions. It just depends, again, like the mood. I go all by mood, so I'm with you. I go by mood. So, yeah.
One more question for my, so when you sleep, you said you put Serenity on you, on your ears, your back of your neck, and all that kind of stuff. So do you sleep with a diffuser on or not?
Well, in our trailer, no, because is taken up with either the heater right now, or and every device that needs to be, you know, like all of our, we have very few outlets in here, so they're taken up. But at home, yes, I have to diffuse Breathe and Lime at nighttime for my husband because he's a snorer. And we put thyme on the bottom of his toe along with vetiver on his toes, and rub that in so he sleeps deeper and doesn't snore. So yeah, Breathe is my nighttime. A lot of people who have a hard time falling asleep and staying asleep, I'll give you a recipe for that time, for nighttime. And that is, okay, so I'm gonna say something here that might be like, well, you're kind of getting in that wacky part. But for people that have trauma that is associated with sleep, like post-traumatic syndrome, or PTSD from you know, addiction or abuse or a trauma of any kind, related to sleep, and it's worse at night, so night terrors and whatnot, definitely use the soft gels. Okay, that is such a blessing to us, and the research behind it is phenomenal. But if you will put in your diffuser 2 drops of Console, 2 drops of Console, 4 drops of Serenity, and 1 drop of bergamot, and if you put peace over your heart, you will sleep much better at nighttime. You will sleep really, really well. And sometimes it takes a couple of doses of those oils, like topically too, before you go to bed, to just prep yourself, because a lot of people, you know, some people have fear around going to bed and sleeping. So one thing I always tried to do was never discipline my kids, like spank them, or, you know, like sometimes they would get a swat. When I say spank, I'm talking about swatting them on the bottom. Like, listen, there's no more Jack and Jill. You were told to go to bed. You know, you do it 15 times, and by the 20th time, you're like, wah! So I tried never to have that kind of crying before my kids would go to bed. I tried. Sometimes they just cry themselves asleep, but inevitably, what's interesting is when they go to bed crying, they wake up crying. It's almost like the body was like, oh, I went to bed crying, and oh, I need to wake up crying. And so sometimes kids have a little bit of a rough time going to bed because they associate, you know, separation from parents, and it's trauma for them. So I found that with my kids, essential oils are such a big answer to be able to creating a beautiful routine around sleep. And so they welcome it. And so, and my kids aged from 18 to 7. And when we started using essential oils, like this was our life, because we saw the beauty in it, and the support in it, and the sustainability in it. Our kids were 2 and all the way up to 13, 12, going on 13. So.
Hey, Sharon, Dee wants you to repeat that recipe. So it was 2 drops Console, 4 drops Serenity, and then 1 drop of what?
Bergamot.
Bergamot, okay. And then peace over your heart.
Right, exactly. And the soft gels. Take a Serenity soft gel. Yeah. I know. I love Serenity too. I mean, like, I am addicted to it. And it's super funny. And I didn't realize why Serenity was a big deal, because I thought it was a depression essential oil for a long time. Like, I don't have depression. But for me, what it was doing for me is curbing and healing the perfectionist in me, so that I didn't, you know, show up so strong for people, like, you know, people so super intimidating to people. And, you know, I've just learned a lot using essential oils about myself. So, yeah, 1 drop of bergamot. That's it. Okay, anybody have any experiences they want to share, or a question, anything else? I was really glad for this. I mean, it's not very often you'll see me share my oil routine, but there you go. I'm glad I could share it. You're welcome. All right, anything else, guys?
I think we're good.
All right, you guys. So, what I love to do when I end these is I just want to encourage you to share, pay this forward, bring other people to this call, invite them and welcome them in. And again, if you've joined late, welcome. We're so glad you're here. And that's a way to pay it forward. These quick, simple tips that we have, and this was a much longer call than they normally are. Truly, they are 15 minutes. You can find all the replays that you want on Vimeo and YouTube. So Renee's really good about putting them on both spaces. And so you can grab all the replays and look at these and see all the different flavors. And paying it forward too is for your voice to be here with us. So we would love to be able to have you collaborate with us and host one of these calls and give your tip. So I'm going to be gone in India the whole month of February. And I would love for you guys to step up and say, oh my gosh, I'll share a tip, because this call is very meaningful to people. We get hundreds of hits, and some of them thousands. They've been watched thousands of times on YouTube, I'm seeing. And so these are really great tools for you. The other way to pay it forward is to be able to share essential oils with other people and teach them how to get these at the best discount for their budget, which is using the loyalty reward program. doTERRA has a rebate program where they give you a percentage back for everything you buy. And so this is so different than having an Avon lady or, you know, a Pampered Chef girl or a Mary Kay girl, because this is not direct sales in that way where someone's taking your orders. This is where you get to purchase, and you purchase what your family needs, when they need it, how they need it, and then you get to get the benefits of, oh my gosh, doTERRA just gave me, you know, 20% back on my order. And next month they're going to give me 25, and 3 months later they're going to give me 30, and then I'll always get 30% back on everything I order. Like, that's insane. Nobody does that. So the loyalty reward program is a beautiful way to pay it back to your family, to pay it back to your budget. So I want to just encourage people to do that. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you on next week. So thank you guys, and goodbye. Appreciate having you here. Thanks again, Renee, for recording for us.